Good morning. I'm going to start this thing for the second time since I've had it. This Allis-Chalmers B tractor. I don't know what year it is. 1940s or 50s. But I found a 2-inch hitch ball for it. And I have this truck bed wagon, or this truck bed trailer that I bought several years ago. Bought it out of a swamp in Aiken. Cleaned it up, put some new tires on it. And I used it to haul junk back and forth to the dump and things like that. But I have these smaller wagons that I've been using with my lawnmower and things like that to haul stuff around the property. And my hope is that I can start using that bigger truck bed trailer to do that. I can get more stuff in it. So I'm going to see if that's going to work today.
The greenhouse garden has been productive. More flowers than vegetables, but that's okay. I like it that way. Some years I have more vegetables than flowers. But, got to get this while I see it. Weed. We'll just throw that out there. We don't want that to reseed. We harvested our fennel, and I left 2 in. They're going to go to seed. You can see the flower head starting to appear. It was really good. We'll see if I can harvest some of them seeds for next year. We've had our fair share, if not more so, of zucchini. We've eaten it almost every day. The nice thing about zucchini, it's so versatile. You can eat it raw, put it in soups, whatever. But we enjoy it. I'm still contemplating maybe pulling a plant so we can start reducing the amount of zucchini we get. I did can some zucchini relish. Going to do that again today. Canned my first pickling, only got 3-quart jars, but that's fine. I have a refrigerator application I do in the beginning of the pickle season because you get 1 or 2 here and there, throw them in the jar, sterilized jar with the brine, and then they'll remain nice and crunchy. So we'll be getting a lot more pickles as the days go on. Okra in the other garden is starting to flower, and I can see here, okra's a lot like zucchini. They almost grow overnight. So you got to pick them when they're about 4 inches long, or they get really woody and not edible at all. Cabbage is loving this area. I planted it purposely here because it gets the most shade and it's a cool weather vegetable, but the heads are forming. In fact, they're just about ready to harvest and I can start making my sauerkraut. Very nice. I did purchase these plants because I didn't start any. I'll do that again next year. The nice thing about this oak leaf lettuce, if you keep harvesting the leaves, it'll continue to grow. If you don't, you can see you'll go to seed, and that's fine. It produces a really nice bloom for the beneficials, and then I can gather some seeds as well. Cranberries, turning color. I really don't harvest these. In hard times, definitely would. But the rough thing about these cranberries is they tend to ripen instead of all at once here and there. So they're a little bit picky about that, and it'd be kind of hard to harvest. You're out here picking one here, one there, one there. My broom corn is doing good. I don't know if I'll ever get the corn. It's what you would make the brooms with. But I had a whole bunch of older seeds, and this is the only one that grew. Now this false indigo did go to flower, and if you remember earlier in the season, I found those blister bugs all over it, but I was able to save it, and this is what they look like when they go to seed. You can hear the seeds inside. I'll get these before they reseed themselves because they will reseed themselves heavily. This zucchini plant I actually started in the winter, and I was hoping to get early zucchinis, but funny thing is, I guess it didn't like it in its pot. I planted it here, it's doing well now, but I actually got the zucchinis I started 3 weeks before planting them in the garden. I got zucchinis from them sooner than I did this one. So I was an experiment, won't do that again. I did plant some turnips here about, I don't know, right before after we came back from our last camping trip. So it shouldn't be long before they start germinating. They're a good root vegetable. My little bit carrots are doing okay. And you'll notice this here, those Japanese beetles that were invading my apple trees. I went ahead and purchased some traps. I was hand picking, but I wanted to make sure I got as many as I could. And you can, I don't know if you can see here, you can see them trying to escape the hole here, but they were decimating my trees. I put one in the other garden too because they were after my rose bush. That better than an apple tree, I guess, but still, don't need them to come back every year. My Alaska daisy are just about ready to be done. It's a long-standing flower. They bloom early spring, and now they're just starting to go bye-bye, so it's a nice flower to have in the garden. Pumpkins are growing crazy. And surprisingly enough, and I'm sure as soon as they say it, I'll come out next couple days, they'll be filled with a fungus of some sort because it's just so wet. You can see just the moisture. Look at that, just all that. I don't know if you can, but it's just totally wet. And you can only fungicide so much. And you have to fungicide in the evening so it doesn't burn the plant, the hot sun. And I made a decision finally. I'm going to have Jesse take these 2 plum trees out. They are just suckering. We got plum trees in the other garden anyway. And I can't really plan on planting too much here because they'll just sucker up through all my crops. And I don't want that to happen. So I transplanted, finally got around to transplanting that daylily that I had in the well garden forever. Separated it, see if they'll come back next spring. Be a nice little display there because I don't generally plant anything next to the fence too much. Found a volunteer hollyhock, so I planted that there. Volunteer dill here. I like to have dill in all the gardens if possible. It smells so good. I love the dill. These are bean poles, and I didn't use them this year, so I just have to move them when I need to get around them. Been harvesting quite a few of these crab apples. Typically, if they're red, they should be done, and basically the eye toward the sky, if it comes off, it's done. I try to get them. The birds have been attacking them, so you can see some damage on a few of them, I think. But yeah, so mainly I've been feeding them to my rabbits. They love apples. Usually in the wintertime I buy them apples as a treat. But I believe all the Japanese beetles, that trap got them all. And, oh, nope, as soon as I say that, I see one. I'll have to hand pick this sucker. Evil little things. I'm just glad I found them early because, like I showed you before, the damage that they do to your tree. If you get a whole big invasion, they'll take all your foliage off, and the plants need the foliage to keep it alive. So hopefully next year I won't have any. Just got to keep an eye. I might put out I don't really want to use the lure until I see them because I don't want to lure them into my gardens if they're not here. But again, that's the first year I've had that many Japanese beetles in any garden. I maybe saw 1 or 2, but that was it. So it's just a good year for them. So everything's pretty much static here. Pretty soon these potato plants will start dying down, and I'll have to dig them up. That's already happened in one of the gardens we'll go to next. Nice thing about this pinks, I let it go to seed and it's actually reblooming. So that's kind of fun. Really pretty, attractive plant. well garden, also doing well. Haha, 2 wells in a sentence. Look how tall these zinnias are getting. They're just fabulous. I couldn't help myself. I went ahead and bought some more seeds for next year, even though I did have some. I tend to hoard seeds because I just can't help myself. Got a handful of cherry tomatoes already harvested and 2 of my Cherokee purple tomatoes harvested. So August is this is the August, September is the time we start harvesting more of the vegetables. July is when they really start growing. And these German greens, sometimes they're hard to tell when they're ripe because they stay green. But you don't want to get them before they turn mushy. So I come out here and feel them every now and again. They start getting a little lighter in color. Beans, fabulous beans. You can see right here all the flowers, plus these are bush beans. So this is about the time, just a little, about that size I like to pick them. About like a number 2 pencil size. Then they don't get stringy or, you know, tough. Curious about this hole. I think it's a frog hole. It's kind of interesting. I cover it up once in a while and it gets uncovered again. So I never see anything coming out, but I believe it's a frog hole. This German green, look how big these are. These are a good beefsteak type tomato. Huge. It's probably a pound, pound and a half right there. It's kind of hard after a while. Sometimes I paint myself in corners because when we plant in the spring, everything's so tiny. And then everything grows and you kind of have to skirt around the plants. It's just been a fabulous season. We're about to harvest some tomatillos as well. They're over there along the fence. And we can start making some of our salsa. Roast them as a side dish. But you can see how prolific they can be. Once the tomatillo fills in the husk and it kind of separates a little bit and kind of a little bit more brittle, the husk, then that's time to harvest them. Proud of myself, I actually deadheaded my yarrow because last year I didn't do it and you can see how much I got. But again, I wasn't going to plant much in this corner if anything. And so it's a nice cover, ground cover. After it dries up today, we had some rain, and once the humidity and moisture's off the kale plant there, I'll harvest the seed pods. They've gotten to where I can do that now. They've dried out, but I like to wait till the plant fully dries up before I start picking them so the seeds stay good in storage. The elderberry berries are starting to form. They'll turn a nice dark burgundy color, I guess you could say. Been really picking the chokeberries really well. Now, I think I misidentified it last time in a previous video, but this is Autumn Magic. I think I called it Black Magic or something like that. But typically when they turn black like that, that's when they're harvested. So I come out here every day because it seems like overnight they turn color. I've got another big chokeberry plant outside the perimeter of the fence here that's starting to ripen as well. You can see the spaghetti squash is starting to ripen. It's it'll turn yellow. It's kind of a pale yellow, maybe kind of off-white yellow. Not getting a lot, but we don't need that many. I harvested some potatoes. You can see that it's time to harvest many of them on this side because the plants have died down, and you don't want the potatoes to start using the tuber to form a plant again, or you won't have a potato. It's going to be time to start canning some jalapenos. Pickled some jalapenos here. Some will turn red. I'd like to get enough for at least 7 pints to can all at once instead of a small can like I did with the pickles. I did do 8 half pints of the zucchini relish, which I'm going to do some more today. Let's see, I saw a flower yesterday. It might have already gone away. I wanted to show you the flower because they're very beautiful. They're yellow. Looks like it's gone. Couldn't turn into an okra. Haven't got a regular cucumber yet, but it won't be long. Of course, it was a late planting of the seeds. It was kind of like, I have the seeds, why not? Normally, I would have planted them sooner, but we'll have cucumbers late in the season. But everything's, at this time of year, the plants are exhausted. You can see the pinks are going to seed. They'll come back every year, and that's fine. That's part of gardening. Not everything has to look beautiful at all times because that's just not a realistic idea unless you pull the plants and replant them next year. So I let a lot of things just to reseed because they're free seeds, and as long as I like the plant and where it's situated, why not? But we'll go look at the plums. Won't be long before these ripen. This plum tree, it does sucker out, but for some reason the other ones sucker a lot more, so we're keeping these for now. They'll turn a nice pink, and they actually also will ripen. They'll probably get about double to triple this size, not much bigger. All our fruits are tiny up here, but they're really tasty. They all do have pit like a lot of the stone fruits do, but they actually, if you pick them right before they are absolutely ripe, they'll ripen inside your house. We'll go look at that chokeberry tree. Well, it's actually a shrub out of the perimeter here. One of my favorite flowers. This is the first flower I ever planted in my entire life when I was younger. Morning Glory. They're in most of all my gardens. Kind of hard to tell when the sun's on it. That's why usually I pick the berries either when it's overcast or in the evening because it's hard to tell what color they are when the sun's so bright on them. But you can see these are starting to ripen quite well. This one usually has the most berries on it. The other ones that are inside, they were out here as well, but I planted them in there to give this one a little bit more room, and maybe that's why it's so successful. There's not a lot of competition. But overall, the gardens are doing as expected at this time of year, and we enjoy working in them, absorbing the sunshine just like the plants do. Thank you for watching.
I don't like the way this deck sags to the left. when it's in the raised position. I think we can fix that by moving the chains around a little bit. One thing I'm going to do with this tractor for sure, probably sooner than later, is I'm going to weld on with my metal shop using whatever parts that I have in the shipping container, my parts container. I'm going to make a coffee cup holder somehow. It'll be awesome. Don't you?